Hey everyone, part 2 of the chat about MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome. So like I chatted about last time, I'm seeing a lot more of it in the last year than I've seen in the last, say, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So as a naturopath of 25 years, this is the sort of thing that I first started hearing about 10, 12 years ago. And then once I started utilising my kinesiology, I saw it more and more because here in Australia, we had very, very little testing available. So each time I've attended seminars on MCAS, it's usually specialists from America who come and speak because we have very few specialists here in Australia who are willing and able to talk about it. It's probably one of those things that our government said doesn't exist, like, fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue and Lyme disease. So anyway, we're always behind the 8 ball because our government has so much control over what we are and aren't allowed to say. Anywho, besides all of that, so like I was talking about, it's when the histamine builds up in your body isn't making enough DAO, diamine oxidase, and the histamine builds up in the gut, the brain, the uterus, and the spine. Now, for those who are sensitive to EMFs, it couples with the connection between, as they're raising 5G, some people are finding all sorts of health issues in their body, rearing at their heads again. And then, of course, there's the other thing that's going on in the past year around the planet, and because that is stimulating a lot of allergic reactions in the body, we're seeing a lot more histamine issues and all sorts of things where the body is unable to heal itself. So you sort of got a couple of fairly big things going on in the past year that didn't exist 2 years ago. So that's sort of where I'm thinking we need a couple of big guns supplement-wise. So for a start, you need something big to draw out the EMFs, the radiation, that sort of electrical energy. If you're someone if you're not sensitive to it, this isn't for you, just by the way. So, all the people will say, there's nothing wrong with EMFs. Well, you're not my clients who come and see me and who have a phone turned on near me and they get migraines. So I'm glad that's not you, but I do see people who are exceptionally sensitive quite regularly. And because I understand it, I see those clients and I'm happy to work with them. The AO scan has actually been really handy because electromagnetic frequencies is one of the things that can show up as a toxin in certain tissues of the body, and it can be messing with the ability for the mitochondria to create energy. It can be messing with the ability for our DNA to repair itself. It can be messing with our ability, it can mess with the cell membranes. So instead of having these lovely cell membranes with a beautiful zeta potential on the outside and they're supposed to repel each other, things like EMFs and histamines, they can cause this inflammation that causes the cells to stick together. So if you've seen any of those videos in the last year with people like Carrie Madday and Stu Peters, and there's quite a few from around the world that are on BitChute and other places like that, where they're looking at current shenanigans and seeing the inflammation that's going on in people's bodies after them. So we know that this is going on, and I'm seeing that when I'm doing my AO scans. I know that when I'm doing my live blood, I'm seeing inflammation when I'm doing my VLA bioimpedance screenings. So these are things that I'm seeing in my clinical life, so with my 25, 30 years experience, I'm seeing that quite a bit. So you need big guns, firstly, to pull out some of the toxins. So by big guns, I mean things like, and I can mean chunky doses of things like your activated zeolites, your bentonite clays, your activated charcoals, glutathione, N-acetylcysteine, vitamin C in big doses, intravenous vitamin C. Of course, there's hardly of that going on in Australia at the moment because the only thing exists in the whole world is one thing. So it's been a real challenge, but nonetheless, if you look at the big things that help to broc shots, broccoli sprouts, sulforaphane products. So we need to be opening up those pathways to allow the toxins to be released. We need things that help to bind those toxins and take them out so that we're not getting damage on the way through. And we need to be hydrated enough so that we're not just moving toxins from one area to another. Infrared saunas are amazing. All the baths we've been talking about over the past year. So whether or not it's your Epsom salt baths, your washing soda baths, your apple cider vinegar baths, your bicarb soda baths, your, whatever it is, if you can take it internally and have it help you detox, it will help you detox in the bath as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. So there's lots of things that can be done, and so that's sort of from a big detox perspective. Next, I'm going to talk about individual nutrients that it can help and the diet that can help with MCAS. Okay, part 3 coming up.